Hello and welcome to this online presentation about choosing a university. My name is Ali and I'm a member of Birkbeck's Access and Engagement team. And by now, if you've watched any of the other videos we have, you're probably sick of my voice. In this presentation, I will take you through the 4 key things to look for in a potential university, namely location, course, extracurricular activities and student support. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you think it's kind of weird for someone who works at university to be talking about the benefits of other unis, but my job is to make sure you make the right decision for you, whether that means coming to Birkbeck or not. Part of the reason this video exists is because there are loads of different options in terms of universities, around 140 in the UK and like 25 in London alone, so there is a lot of choice. If you're in the process of deciding where to apply to, it's absolutely fair enough to be feeling a bit overwhelmed. However, each of these institutions are different in how they teach, where they're based, and what they specialise in, so that's how you'll be able to narrow down your options. We'll start off with location. Whether you choose to live at home or move to near your university, you'll be there for a minimum of 3 years, so it's really important to think about what you want from your uni's location. With loads of great universities throughout the world, you might not even want to stay in the UK, in which case the most important things to consider are: can you speak the language that class is being taught in? What are the fees like for international students? And how expensive is it to live in that country? There are also many university courses that offer a year abroad at a partner institution, so you may want to consider that as a scaled back option. Most people choose to stay in the UK for their studies, so if this is you, your next step is thinking about how far you want to be away from home. Some students thrive off being far away, but some really appreciate having the comforts of home nearby. There's no right answer, it's just whatever you feel like you'd benefit from. If your family lives near your uni, you can also save money by living at home whilst you study, but you may want the independence of living away from home regardless. Whether you choose to study in a massive city like London or somewhere smaller, it's always best to get a feel for the vibe of the city or town you're going to be living and studying in. Do you want to try something completely different to where you grew up, or would you prefer to be familiar with the sort of place you're in? Whatever your preference, it's important to check out where your uni of choice is based and whether you feel like you'd enjoy living there. For example, finding out about the student areas of a place will let you know what the reality of living there will be like. Then comes the university itself. Some unis are self-contained on a campus, which means they're often based slightly outside of the city or town centre, and all the university buildings are there. The pros of campus unis are that they are convenient and have a good sense of student community, but some people say they are a bit of a bubble and mean that you feel very distant from the city or town you're living in. The other option is a city university, where uni buildings are dotted about within the city itself. The pros of these universities are that students feel integrated into the community of that city or town and that it feels livelier. But then again, students can also say that the buildings are too spread out or they don't feel as much like a student. The last point to make about location is about how easy it is to get there and get back home. You'll be most likely coming home for the holidays and may want to pop back now and again to see your family. If it's going to be a 6-hour journey with 3 trains and 2 buses, you might prefer somewhere easier to get to. However, you may not want to come home that much, I'm not judging. The next thing to think about is the course you want to study and what that course is like at different institutions. If you don't know what you want to study just yet, maybe start by looking for universities that have a wide range of courses that will give you the most choice, or that offer joint honours programmes which let you study 2 subjects at the same time. However, despite this, we always recommend you find out what area you want to study before you start applying to unis, as this will help your application to have a bit of focus. Once you have an idea, you can start to look and see whether certain universities specialise in your subject and what they teach as part of that subject. University degrees are split up into modules, and most uni websites have module breakdowns available, so you can look and see if any of the ones they offer on your chosen course really interest you. It's also important to check out how many contact hours you'll have, which essentially just means how much time you'll spend in lectures and seminars, either online or in person. The more contact hours you get, the more supervision and guidance you can get from your academics. A lot of university courses also offer elective modules, where you can choose modules from another subject which will still count towards your degree. Always wanted to learn a bit of French, for example? You might be able to do it while studying for a completely separate degree, so it's always worth checking out which unis offer these modules. So now we've covered the academic side, another vital part of finding the right university is the social element. Even the most driven students need a chance to blow some steam, so it's important to know what's on offer. All universities have clubs and societies on offer for you to join when you arrive there. From musicals to paintball, you'll most likely find something that you're into or that you've always wanted to try. Societies don't have to cover a specific activity either. Sometimes they're just about bringing together like-minded people so they can connect and feel like a part of a community. You'll be able to find out what societies a uni offers by going on their student union's website, but more on that in a bit. Some of the clubs that are offered are sport-related, which allow people to try out different sports at their own pace. However, if you're really into a certain sport, I guarantee that most universities will offer you a chance to play at a competitive level through their official teams. Universities compete with one another through the BUCS system and are always on the lookout for elite players to help them gain bragging rights over each other. As well as this, if you love to keep active, then it's worth looking into whether your chosen universities have gyms that students can use and how memberships work. Do you get cheap membership as a student? Are classes and pool access included? These are all things worth keeping in mind. After a long day of lectures and playing Quidditch, turns out that's legitimately an option, you might want to collapse into bed, but you might also want to sample the nightlife that's on offer at your chosen uni, in which case it's well worth checking out what university-owned bars and clubs are on offer, as well as what the town or city you'll be living in is like to go out in. Each university town or city will have a different vibe to its nightlife, so it may be that there are plenty of great pubs and restaurants but no clubs, or vice versa. You'll probably find a decent night out wherever you go, but if nightlife is your thing, you might want to look towards one of the bigger cities. Finally, it's also worth mentioning student unions. These are organisations that look out for students' interests at uni and advocate for them and their rights. A strong student union will make sure that students are getting a fair deal from their university, as well as providing most of the things I've just mentioned. Do your research into what the union is like at your chosen institutions, as generally, the better the union, the happier the students tend to be. On that note, one of the final things to look into is what support is being offered to students by the university. University can be a stressful and sometimes overwhelming experience, so it's important to know that if you need it, your university will be able to support you. For example, if you're a student from a low-income background, it may be that your chosen universities have schemes put in place to support you financially through bursaries or scholarships. Often, these are awards that don't need to be paid back and can be awarded on top of student finance. These awards can sometimes be the difference between being able to continue studying and dropping out, so definitely look into what is on offer. With a big part of university being based around exams and assessments, it's inevitable that students may experience some level of stress or anxiety, hence why universities have wellbeing and mental health support services. These can cater to existing mental health conditions or ones that may develop whilst at uni, and often they will offer free counselling to their students through these services. You may not see yourself as someone that would need to use these services, but it's always worth knowing whether they're there, just in case. You may also have a disability or dyslexia, in which case finding out how your chosen universities can support you with this is really important. It can vary, from being given extra time in exams to being provided with a laptop to take notes in lectures. These services should also be able to advise you about applying for the Disabled Students Allowance, which is financial support for students with disabilities. Your health and happiness at university is just as important, if not more so, than your academic performance, so finding out about these services should be an integral part of your uni choice. So, I've told you all this information about what to look out for, but how do you find it out? There's no one-size-fits-all approach to researching universities, but there are some common ways to finding out useful information about them. The most common, and most useful, is to go to open days. These may be online or in person, but they will allow you to take a look around the university buildings, talk to academics and support staff, and generally get a feel for the place. If you visit in person, you'll also get a chance to look around the city or town that the uni is based in to see whether you like it there. A big part of the open day experience is talking to current students to get their first-hand experience of what it's like to study there. If you can't make it to an open day, there is a service called UniBuddy, which pairs you up with a current student online to chat with them. Make sure you prepare some questions you want to ask them before you connect, as then you can get the best out of your chat. A great source of information about universities is their websites, social media, and any blogs they have. These are constantly there, so you can use them to research the uni whenever is convenient for you. You'll also be able to search for blogs and social media posts that students at that university have written about studying there. Although be a bit wary of these, as often they aren't completely accurate and may just be an outlet for the students to air their frustrations. Where you are right now is also a perfect source of advice and guidance about university. If your sixth form or college has a university or futures advisor, Book in a time to go and speak to them, as it's literally their job to know about this sort of stuff, and they'll most likely also know you in some capacity. Finally, and I've put this one last as it's a bit of a controversial one, you can always look at the university rankings. These are done on both a general level as well as a subject by subject level, so you can see how each university is ranked for your chosen subject. However, these rankings change a lot and aren't entirely reliable, but they can give you a good overview of a university before you go off and do your own research on it. You won't find some universities in the rankings, like Birkbeck for example, as we don't feel like what we offer is comparable to most other universities. Ultimately, which uni you choose to apply to is up to you, and often you'll get a good feeling about a place that you can't really explain, but that's a good instinct to follow. There will be a university and course out there that will really suit you. You just need to do a bit of research to find it. Just before we finish, it's important to mention that if you choose a university and don't like it, you aren't tied to that choice. There's always scope to transfer or leave, so don't feel like the choice you make is one that can't be changed. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this presentation. I hope it gives you a bit of an insight into what to look for in a prospective university. Worst comes to worst, you can always close your eyes and stick a pin in a big map. If you have any questions about applying for university, or Birkbeck in general, drop us a line at getstarted@bbk.ac.uk and we'll be more than happy to help out.